Good to be back after a long 5-day trip out west. Pleased that we only have to do that once a year. I can't believe those that are having to do that over and over again every other weekend. Fortunately, we're not one of those, but very, very pleased. First of all, it's you don't expect to go into an opposing gym in California and have more fans than the home team did, and to the amount of Badger fans that are out there in the West Coast and people that flew in for those matches was incredible. And to have a dominating presence in the gym with their enthusiasm was really good, and real pleased with the way that we played, and had some lineup changes. On Saturday, Sage Damrow and Miley Chan came in. I thought both of them did a really, really good job and gave us a lift, not only with their skill, but also with their energy. And looking forward to this weekend. We've got a couple opponents that got us earlier in the year, and two of the most storied programs in our league and in the country, and we've got an opportunity in front of us to see if seeing how we've improved since we played them previously.
Coach, could this next week almost be looked like as a preview, or almost like the postseason before the postseason? Like, these could very well be the caliber, the very same teams you play, and how could this next week kind of show you who you are and what you need to become before you do get to that final stage?
Yeah, I mean, we've got we're trying not to get ourselves ahead too much toward the NCAA tournament. We still feel like there's a lot of things to be playing for these next 4 matches, and these are 2 elite teams that I think that are playing their best volleyball of the year. Certainly, we went into Minnesota and they got us in 5 sets at their place and really gave us a lot of issues in that match, starting off the conference, and then Nebraska come into our place and sweeping us, and that's not something that's happened here in the field house very often. And but these are 2 teams that could go a long way in the tournament, and and teams that are capable of not only winning quite a few times, but could win 6 times. And so we know the opportunity that's in front of us, and the possibility that each of these guys we may play a couple more times this year, which is when you're going up against those elite teams, those are things that are possibilities.
You mentioned that Nebraska loss. With a little bit of hindsight now, that's kind of the outlier in the way your season has been going.
Yeah,
that one sticks out. You see what went wrong and what you can do to make it be different?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. It's I didn't think we passed particularly well in that match when we played them earlier. We've been passing the ball pretty well. That wasn't the case. I'm not sure that that we got good swings on the ball, and when you're playing an elite defensive team, you've got to be able to put pressure on them somewhere, and certainly offensively is one way to do it. And there wasn't a whole lot of pressure, and like I said, when you're playing a team that defends the way they do, you got to be more than one-dimensional, and you've got to be able to work the court when you are attacking. And so. There was a lot of things that we didn't do well, and a good portion of it was due to the pressure they were giving us, and that's, I think a lot of times when you're playing sports, you'll hear announcers or whatever say, that a team is just giving a lot of points away, and typically it's because of what the other team is doing to them. It's and either mentally or emotionally or tactically, and you got to be able to have an answer for it. So I won't just sit there and say, hey, this was all on us. For both these opponents, I mean, it was the pressure that our players were playing because of the level they were playing, and so we've got to be able to rise up. And there's certainly an opportunity of that, and we've done that quite a bit this year.
So on Saturday, football will also be playing in Lincoln, and I mean, classic college town. What do you expect the energy to be like with both a really high-level volleyball game and that football game just a couple hours apart?
I mean, they've had both sports between the two teams have been great rivalries, right? And the energy between the two is pretty high. But it's I can't imagine that really raises the level any more in Devaney than what it usually is, because it's an awesome environment like the field house is, and when these two teams are playing, usually the level of play is pretty darn high. But it's a packed house, and the long lines beforehand, and the energy is through the roof when we come into town, and there's an anticipation between the two programs that no matter where that is played is usually pretty darn high. But there'll be a lot of Badger fans in town, I'm sure, as well. Now, whether they'll be able to get into any of the venues will be something else. But I mean, it should be pretty fun.
I know it's still early, but do you have any idea yet on the availability this week for Gigi and Lola?
No, it's still early. Especially we got home last night, and so they're doing the things that they need to do, plus go to class. But yeah, we'll see.